Welcome back, Metas. H.O.D here, and we have some big news on what is coming to Once Human. We have news on the two new scenarios coming. First, on September 26th, we get Prismaverse Clash, and on October 17th, we have announcement for the Way of Winter release. We have mobile testing. We also have news on when we're going to get breeding for the taming. So let's cover all the details about the new seasons, because the devs just did a live stream covering how this first of the two new seasons will work. So let's cover everything new coming to Once Human. Make sure to smash a like and subscribe. So first off, we have the new PvP scenario, Prismaverse Clash. And as many of you would know, this is the next season. It starts on the 26th of September, so just in a week's time. But they also say that it will still be a soft PvP server. So if you guys are on PvE and you're worried about it being too hardcore for you, do not fret, because it sounds like it actually will be very opt-in still. They say it's not going to be full loot drop. So when you die, you're actually not going to drop your loot at all. So there's no risk in taking up fights with other players. So you won't lose your gear when you fight. They say players won't drop it. So I think that's going to make a lot of people happy. But if you choose to, you can still get your base raided. So it's an interesting balance. Let's go over how it works from the details the devs gave us, because they had an informative video that goes over it. So how does the new season work? Well, basically it's going to be a 19-day season, so very short, and it has things to compensate for this, like fast growth. So there's things in place that make everything happen a bit faster to compensate for the shorter season. So they say there'll be less grind and more PvP, and I hope that's the case. And it'll be broken down into hive groups instead of warbands. But your hive will work together with other hives of your faction. So 2 factions. You can be the Mayflies or Rosetta. So that's how the map's going to be broken down. And each of these factions has a faction safe zone where you can build your base and be safe from raiding and PvP. In those zones you are safe, but there's going to be contest zones, as you can see on the map here, where you can choose to build, and in those zones you can be raided at any time. So it's always on PvP in those zones. And so this is going to be very interesting. The point of having your base in the contest zone is to secure prismatic deviants. So that's what you're going to do there. So we'll go over exactly how this works in more detail, but that's the rough breakdown. So the way it works is, once you've chosen your faction, you have to find prism deviants in the world, and you take them to your base and secure them. Now, depending on the type of deviant, it can take from 30 minutes to 2 hours, and you can only secure them in the contest areas. So basically, if you want to get the prism deviants, you have to go in the contest areas. The reason to get the prism deviants is because you need the energy to boost your faction's points for the season to win and get extra loot crates at the end. So that's the whole point of it. So it basically means you can choose to do this part of it, or you can opt out of it. Again, it's opt in or opt out. If you guys want to just play it like normal, you can, but this is going to be a lot of fun. Even if you're a PvE player, if there's no risk to losing your gear, but I still think if you're in the contest zone and someone raids your base, it'll probably drop your base loot. I need to get a confirmation on that. It may not. Because what happens sometimes at the moment is your loot will go back into your vault. And so you might be safe even from the raids. And all it'll mean is they can steal the deviant that you're trying to secure. So basically, if you do anything when you've got one of these prismatic deviants in your backpack, like go to a safe zone or try to do a dungeon or anything like that, the deviant will go back to where you got it from. And so you can't do anything except take it back to your base to secure it when you have one of these prism deviations. And you can get them from fishing, gathering, and public contests as well. So you don't just have to do PvP. So picture it like the current PvP crystals on PvP servers. When you take those back to your base becomes active. And so what you're going to do is you're going to get everyone in your faction to come together, or you're going to build in a big group together and build huge big fortresses all around someone who's securing these prism deviations, so that you can keep them safe. So it's going to be very intense, and I can imagine very laggy, because what I think people are going to do is just group up and build, like stack on top of each other basically. And so you can't go to the safe zone when you've got a prism deviant. You can't do anything like that. You have to secure it, and this will give your faction points. So that's the basic rundown of how this season is going to work. So I would say it is very soft, and don't be afraid if you are a PvE player. You can choose to ignore that whole side of it still. By the sounds of it, if you're in the contest zones though, questing and stuff, you might get someone try to PvP you, but you won't lose your gear. So I think the way this is going to work out is that everyone's going to have their base set up in the safe zones for the most time, especially when you log off. And then when you're online and actively trying to get prism deviations, you'll move your base into the contest zone, and at that point you'll be able to get raided. So you don't have to worry about offline raiding and stuff. You can put your base back into the safe zone, because as you guys know, you can move your base very easily in Once Human. So when you're inactive, you'll move it to the safe zone. When you're active, you'll move it out in the contest zone, get your prism deviations, and then clean them and move it back again so you don't get raided when you're away from your base. So again, very, very soft PvP compared to what a lot of people like myself want. We want that hardcore PvP, but it's understandable. They're trying to get a feel for it, to get a balance at the moment. And so this is what we've got. So don't worry about being offline rated and things like that. Again, it's going to be very, very soft. You should not fret. You should not fear. I really encourage PvE players to come over to PvP because it's a really fun time, and there's no loss. You know what I mean? It's just another element to add to the game. So check it out if you want. So it's broken down into 4 phases. First phase will be 5 days with only 4 regions and the safe zones. Second phase for 7 days, hard modes will open up, and third phase will be 7 days and pro modes will open up. So while this is on the same map, it'll have the new side of it that's active, but the rest of the map and the rest of the progress is going to be like it was on the first couple seasons. So you'll still be able to do all the dungeons and do all these silos and bosses. So it's very interesting. I'm really looking forward to the snow map, because I think if you choose not to do this side of the faction conflict, it's going to feel very much the same as the first 2 seasons. But luckily, we do have some new stuff coming that'll make it a bit fresher. So that's the rundown of the new Prism Clash event, new Prism Clash season. Now we'll cover the other things coming on the 26th, which is the new breeding. So if you guys know, they added taming in a few weeks ago, or probably a month at this point, and now on September 26th, we're going to get breeding. So this means you can capture animals in the world, and you can actually make a youngling hut and put your tames in there, and they have a chance of breeding. And they're going to have a new appearance system too, so you can get really customized looking tames. So I'll start delving into this now with the breeding. I think this feature really needed the breeding side of it to be more practical. And so at this point, you'll be able to make yourself more automated farms for getting those hides and meats and things like that, instead of just using the killer bunny. So that's pretty cool. I'm looking forward to that. I'm really excited coming from Ark. That's going to be a great thing to see. They also have a new Lightforge loot crate car, which sucks that it's in a Lightforge loot crate. I really hate the Lightforge loot systems. I think everyone in the community does, and I hope they stop doing these, because they're just a poor way to do it. I'm probably not even going to look at doing this. Anytime I see Lightforge loot crate at this point, I think I'm not going to participate, because it's just not worth it. You spend way too much money on something, and you might not even get what you want. So the car is going to be there. If you guys do want it though, it will be there, but be careful, because these Lightforge loot crate systems are very exploitative. We also have mobile release testing right now, so if you guys haven't, check out the Once Human website, and you can download it for your iPad, for your iOS or Android devices, and also cross-play with PC. If you guys want to test it out, check it out now. This is so exciting to see. We're going to have cross-platform play very soon, I think. So if you guys want to be part of it, it's over there. And there will be also a Twitch streamer event. But it sucks because they haven't put any actual Once Human players in it, like Doomerus or Male Oreo. So there's going to be a lot of Twitch streamers playing for the faction wars. And if you guys want to see it, it'll be on Twitch. So that'll be a good boost to Once Human's player base, at least, which will be nice. So very interesting. And then they've also announced that The Way of Winter will be coming out on October 17, after this season has finished. So it'll line up with the end of everyone who's joined at the start of this new season. But if you're joining a server that starts a bit later, you'll have a bit of time before you can jump straight into the new season with that same character. So be aware of that. What do you guys think of this overall? I think it's great. I'm looking forward to it. I hope it feels fresh, and I hope there's a lot of PvP in it. So let me know in the comments what you guys think, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Don't forget to use the codes on screen, by the way, to get some free Star Crom and loot crates. You guys are legends. Thanks for watching.